Hello, this is Gene. I was hesitant to actually do this video because I'm going to be talking about a fellow veteran, but I think it needs to be out there. My feelings on his attitude about certain things. About 2 weeks ago, I put a little video out there about the cucking of Western men, and when I was watching this guy's video, I figured out that this was a prime example of this phenomenon happening to Western men. Now, again, obviously I was upset what he said in there. I thought it was anti-white, anti-racist, which is a code word for being against the white person. But looking at him and figuring that maybe he was raised in a leftist society like I was. He's a little bit younger than I am. So I researched him, and there's more to the story for this guy. And when I found out he's a veteran from the Marines, I wanted to tread slowly about what I was going to say. But still, looking at his background, I think I might understand where he gets his attitude. And while I don't respect it, I do respect the fact that he served the country. The fact that at this point that he has been brainwashed to say that the things that he said in his podcast a couple days ago, which I'll put below, you can listen to it and you can tell me what you think about it. Who I'm talking about is a MMA reporter. His name is Luke Thomas. He's a big dude, very athletic looking dude, masculine looking dude. So when you hear some of the things that come in his mouth, it just kind of shocked me. Now, I don't listen to him that much. I don't listen to the other guy, Ariel Helwani, because he has his own issues. I think he's a good job. I think they both do a good job when it comes to MMA. Clearly, I don't agree with everything that they say. Because I'm a fan, though, and they report it and people follow them. It all started when the first press conference went between Mayweather and McGregor. And during the conference, when Mayweather was running around and looking like he was dancing, McGregor said, "Dance for me, boy." And apparently Luke thought that this was something that was racist in nature. And he said he had talked to Connor, and Connor kind of figured out that he shouldn't have said that. And I don't understand why somebody like this person thinks that he can tell us what we should be able to the words we can say. And then of what people do, and you can have that opinion saying he probably shouldn't have done it, and he could have just went past from that and just reported on what else happened at that event and other things at MMA. That's not what he did. He said that he basically said that all the backlash that he's getting from people online are people from Northern Ireland who live in a homogenous society, and they don't understand what the term boy means in the United States to African Americans. So I just backed up a little bit. I couldn't believe he was saying this. And I'm thinking, oh, so Mayweather now is part of the oppressed class now, right? Even though he's got over $500 million, he's still oppressed regardless. And regardless of what he says to Connor, as far as insults, that's okay. But if Connor said something like that he himself might think is racist, not Mayweather, but Luke Thomas, a liberal, apparently liberal person that thinks it has to tell everybody how we should talk. And it reminds me when I was a lot younger, when I was serving. Now, again, he's a veteran, and I support that. He only served for 4 years, and then he got out, and he, probably did better for his life. He probably got more money from it. He retired as a sergeant. I retired as a senior master sergeant. I was in there 24 years. I've seen a lot of things. He talks on his podcast saying he's been all over the world, and we'll talk about where he's been and how that makes him smarter when everybody else who lives in a homogenous society would not really understand about that. And somehow it's okay to say that homogenous societies somehow have something wrong with them. And he talks of multiculturalism and all this stuff, and you know what that is? That's anti-white, anti-racist vernacular. And I would actually say him to his face. I mean, he's a little bit taller than me, probably stronger than I am, but I'll tell him anyway. Would you have a problem with somebody in Japan saying something like that? because they're from a Muslim society right now, and everybody knows that it's one of those no crime is ever there. So there is a lot of good things of having a homogenous society. So it remained when I was walking in today, and I was thinking, there was a time in my life that I didn't get really, really in trouble, but it was right when this first PC crisis started happening in this country in the 90s, and I was working with a guy that was Hispanic. And it's strange, my greatest friend ever is Hispanic. Didn't really even understood about it. You know, we just hung out together, played basketball, football. I never looked at him differently. We were both from the same class, just a little bit low middle class. Never came up. He never called me Whitey this, or I never called him. There was nothing like that. It didn't come up. We were just good friends. But I got in the military, and it was about the same time like movies like Hot Shot, I think it was, or with Robbie Benson, or Hoosiers came out, and some of the other ones, White Man Can't Jump. And this guy, we used to play basketball all the time, and most of the time I'd win, or my team would win. And we were about the same size. He was a bit thinner than me, and he could actually dunk. I couldn't. So he'd say shit like that about me all the time, and I'd say something to him, and after we beat him, I'd say, well, you go back into the fields and get those apples. And I don't really know where I got that from at that point, to be honest. I never seen it. Maybe I don't know, but it was just something that we used to say to each other. There was never a issue with that, and it was something we would say to each other all the time. And we would work it at night together. We had the same job, and so one satellite pass, and I worked with satellites. I would do, and then he would do another one. Then there'd be like a 3 or 4 hour downtime when we couldn't see any satellites where we were. So that time we could go down and play basketball or do something else, or on the way back up to where we were, we might say shit to each other, and somebody heard us saying this stuff, that we were just giving ourselves, you know, what guys do to each other. And I said the same thing about the apples. Nobody gave a shit what he said to me. And this white, what we found out later on was a lesbian captain, got really upset about that. And I had to stay after the shift that day, I had to go and report to my flight at this, and I had to talk about it. And Ray could have stayed at home. He could have went home, but he stayed because he knew that there was nothing racist in what I had to say, that it was something that we did with each other. And I was told that I couldn't say it again, and then it never really happened. But later on in life, we would laugh about it. And sometimes I'll put them on Facebook, and I'll say, "Hey, did you find any apples?" It's something we have together. But that was that first PC craze started, and we're back here again, and we're having people that understand how interplaying between people is, and what Connor was saying at that time was just an insult, maybe, to Floyd. And I think that Floyd can hold himself, can take care of himself. And yesterday, Luke Thomas, or it might have been 2 days ago after it happened, he said that I think that Connor won't do it again. Basically, in his own words, he said that Connor knows that he shouldn't have said that, he probably won't do it. Well, guess what Connor did yesterday? He did the same fucking thing. And I'm glad he did. And I'm glad that people like Red Pill Philosophy is tweeting that out and having a video on it. Because this stuff we need to stop. We need to stop with people who are quote-unquote Western men that are just want to be so cucked by just saying words. And I want to talk about his upbringing, because if you look at him, you think, oh, he's served in the military, he looks white. Now, depends on what you want to believe, because a lot of people don't want to believe this, that your race is really determined by your mom. It's a part of if you want to believe that. Or either way, you can say you're half and half. His mom was Syrian, okay, and his wife, his mom, his dad was a overseas attaché, I guess. So Luke was born in India. Now he's still American as far as I can tell. I didn't really want to go into this because looking into his life, his mom had suicide when he was 23, and we don't want to live that on anything. But clearly, he went to places that are very liberal. He went to William and Mary's, so he has an education that is clearly liberal and cultural Marxism. So these little buzzwords that he has is something he's been taught, and he got this idea that he's been around all these very high IQ people from other ethnicities, and he has this ability to think that everybody's like that. So I'm not going to sit there and bring up racist realism or anything like that. And that's not what this is for. This is when somebody like him, who thinks he's better than everybody else because maybe his dad was a big deal and he was born overseas and he's been around the world. Well, I've been around the world too, and I've seen things. I've been places probably where you've never been. Now, maybe you have when you were training out, so maybe you've seen some people like this, Luke. But the point is, you don't have the authority to say what we can and we cannot say. Again, I believe that Floyd Mayweather can hold himself, and he did himself proud, I guess, with his retort to him yesterday, the day before, even though he doesn't have the same acumen when it comes to talking like Conor has. He did, and at the end of the day, Mayweather is the one that's got all the money in this scenario. So this idea that you as I guess you're a white person, I'll give you half white. Again, it depends on what you believe. A lot of people they're hearing Syrian might be from the Caucasus, so maybe we're all related. I don't really care at that point. But the fact that you have this idea that you're better than everybody else, that you have to tell people that from Northern Ireland, because they come from a society that is mostly white people, that they don't understand what it is to be looked at as another. I don't think that Floyd feels that way. And talking about Floyd, how many freaking times, Luke, has he said racist shit? And I don't think you've ever said anything to him about it. I don't think you ever put it on your podcast saying he said shit that he said about Conor, or the sexist shit he said to other people, and the fact that he's a woman beater. Maybe you brought that up. I don't know. But this is what I'm talking about. This little insidious cucking of the Western male that just sits there in the first part of your video is talking about he shouldn't have said that. He's promoting a fight, and he is what he is. And you even said, I don't think that Conor is racist, so why are you bringing the fucking thing up? If you have an issue with it, why don't you ask him to come on your fucking show and ask him that? And I hope that Conor says, what the fuck are you talking about? You're stupid. Because you are stupid. I don't give a shit that you're a vet. I don't care that you've been around the world. I've seen around the world too. We have the idea that you want to just limit our speech. I'm sure you're in favor for any type of law that says we shouldn't say anything against Islam. I'm sure that you probably would support what they did in Canada with the pronoun thing. You probably, oh no, everybody has to have their own pronoun. Because everything's PC to you. And it's awful that you live in a medium that you you get to spout anything you want to say, and if anybody responds to you in a different way, they are somehow not enlightened as you are. And that's just bullshit, and you know it's bullshit. So this might be a series that I continue on to expose people in the West who claim have this facade of being masculine. He may look like on the outside. He's a big dude, probably bigger than I am. Probably has the type of physical attributes that would kill me. And the fact that my ability with speaking has been changed since my stroke, maybe over time he would be better in a debate against me. But he doesn't have the moral high ground here. And there was nothing wrong of what Conor McGregor said. And if Floyd had any issue with it, he could have done something about it. And all that stuff will be settled on 26th anyway. The fact that another guy who is white looking is trying to defend the oppressed person in this case it's awful, and it should be called out. All right, that's all I have this week. Thank you for listening to my story. If you think I'm right, let me know. If not, let me know why I'm not. Share this, and if you see Luke Thomas, ask him why he's a cuck. You guys have a good day. Bye.